Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.
Viewers, welcome back to the coach's desk. Reggae Boyz head coach Theodore Whitmore is expressing his concerns about the resumption of the National Premier League. In its current state, it is actually as dormant as the Sapphire Hills volcano. Now, the lack of competitiveness is the concern of Whitmore because this will affect the local based footballers in almost a year, and it will actually affect the preparation going into the Gold Cup and the World Cup qualifiers. So Whitmore is actually pleading to the stakeholders of football to do whatever they need to do to ensure that football resume. You know what I mean? So it is quite interesting that the head coach has come out with a huge swing at the stakeholders of football in Jamaica. And it is a big impact. It will be a negative impact if football isn't played for this year. Now, we all know what transpired in this global pandemic, and football has been disrupted since March of last year, and it has not been played since. Many competitions across the world has started. We have the Bundesliga, we have the Serie A, we have the English Premier League, and in these countries, they have a greater death rate. They have a greater rate of the virus spreading in comparison to what is transpiring here in Jamaica. So it is quite evident that the local authorities aren't doing anything in order to get this kick started. Because if these leagues can start where coronavirus is on the rise every single day, record-breaking rise, record-breaking death, and football is being played, then it speaks volume of what is transpired in Jamaica. I know that the Ministry of Health and Wellness is doing all they can to ensure that the country citizens remain safe and all of that. But football can start. Football can resume because it is happening, like I said, in all parts of the world. Now, in what Whitmore is alluding to is that he will have a big issue in selecting players going forward. You have friendly internationals coming up, which are outside of the FIFA window dates and all of that. They have games slated in March, 2 games in particular, and it is critical that football is being played. And just to highlight that this year's Premier League would have gotten the most sponsorship that I've ever seen in football, in local football for years. Many persons have come on board, many businesses have come on board to ensure that things are in place for the resumption of football. And to have all of these sponsors on board and know football, then it is quite amazing that no football is being played with so many sponsors. I had to reiterate that point there. Now, Whitmore said, and I quote, "This obviously has taken away the footballers' competitive readiness for international competition and will surely place them at a significant disadvantage to their overseas counterparts." End of quote. And I've been saying this all along. Many persons aren't too interested in getting the overseas based players to play, especially the English based one, to play for the Reggae Boyz. But with what is happening, the competitive edge that has been lost by these local players, then definitely they would have been at a disadvantage. These other players are overseas. They are playing week in, week out in various competitions. So their competitive nature is still there. They are playing football. They are not just training. All these local players are doing, they might be just training. They might be just keeping fit, going to the gym, and all sorts of things. My thing is that I do believe that, like I said earlier, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, they are working assiduously, and hats off to them for the awesome job that they have been doing where the COVID-19 pandemic is concerned. You know what I mean? We have to really give them kudos there. However, this is my opinion on the matter. Sports isn't taking in any revenue for the country. You know what I mean? The only sport currently that is taking in revenue for the country is horse race. And if you notice, horse race has been happening for months. So these other sports, they are not going to take in any revenue for the country. So the government and the other stakeholders will definitely drag their feet, because it is not a must that these things happen. And it's sad, because sports, especially one Usain St. Leopold, who has highlighted the country, who has placed the country on the map through his exploits on the track. Many persons don't believe that sports is a viable career, and so they look down on persons who are sports administrators, they look down on persons who are coaches, they look down on persons who actually play the game. And sometimes these persons have to blame themselves because of how they carry themselves and how they actually portray the image of the particular sports that they do. I had to just add that my 2 cents on that matter. Now, Whitmore added that the situation is not good for the World Cup qualifiers and the Gold Cup final this year. It is not good, because whatever needs to be done between the government and the various football stakeholders, JFF and the PFJ, should be done now, he said, before adding that most countries are back playing competitive football, end of quote. And one football manager, Clyde Juridina, made mention of that. If football isn't started at the end of January, it doesn't make any sense. And how things are looking, it doesn't seem like football is going to be played locally for the remainder of the season. And that might pose a problem, a huge problem. So I'm really sorry for the local base players. My heart goes out to them. I mean, it has impacted them in such a critical way. You know what I mean? It is sad with what is happening. But at the end of the day, the government, they are in charge. But it is good to know that the sports minister has said that she will try to engage a whole lot of the sports administrators and the governing bodies of local sports in the country intermittently to ensure that they come to some sort of conclusion or amicable solution to resume sports. And if you look, Jamaica has a whole lot of sporting federation, probably close to 50 or more. And you know that it is going to take a time, because everybody would want to put in their 2 cents to ensure that their sports resume. So it is going to be a tough one. It is coming up to the end of January. Possible all the meetings and the talks will probably be the end of February. Then you have March, April, May, June, July. That's 5 months. And if I'm wrong, I want you to correct me. In CONCACAF, they have to finish all competitive leagues before the Gold Cup starts. So that might be a problem. I think they have to go to the drawing board if football resumes in March to probably cut down some of the games or have more games. Will the players be able to keep up with the amount of games that are going to be played? So it has a whole lot of repercussions where this is concerned. It is tough. It is tough. And like I said, my heart goes out to the local based players. They are in a spot of bother, and it's tough for them. They might be left out of whatever squad that is called up to play games for the Gold Cup final and the World Cup qualifiers. And incidentally, Whitmore cries for this because he sees that Jamaica has a real good chance of winning the Gold Cup this year, as well as kickstarting their World Cup qualifying quest. It is going to be tough. So it hampers a whole lot of things. Now, the reluctance to restart football, he urged, would have the effect of reversing all the gains the program has made. Very true. And we should not come this far and kick the pail of milk over and throw away all our gains of the past few years without due consideration for solutions. We can do this. We are Jamaicans. We are leaders in solutions and innovations. End of quote. That was said by Coach Theodore Whitmore. So, Whitmore cries for the resumption of football. Local football, that is. Thanks very much for joining the Coach's Desk today. Remember, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that when we drop these videos, you will be notified. Thanks again. I'm out.